Sold! The Lakers are under new ownership, but how much will really change about the storied franchise? The Thunder are one win from glory, whose legacy stands to gain the most from an NBA title. And we get in touch with our feelings on ring culture, the Bulls running it all back, and another Grizzlies players making off-the-court headlines for all the wrong reasons. That's today on Locked On NBA.
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On NBA. Thanks so much for making us your first listen of the day. We are free. We are available wherever you get your podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. I'm Doug Branson, host of Locked On Hornets and your Shot Clock Sherpa, guiding you through the NBA's biggest stories every day with the help of Locked On's local experts. And I have two of the best with me, as always, from the Locked On Nuggets podcast and senior NBA writer for the Action Network. It's Matt Moore. Matt.
This might be the last day we have basketball, professional men's basketball, until October. And that to me is just sad and stressful. So don't leave me long, basketball.
Sad and stressful, but we have to remember that we've gotten such a great finals that I think basketball may have earned, men's basketball may have earned some time off. From the Locked On Bulls podcast, we've got Haize. Haize.
Basketball never ends. We got a lot of stuff going on here. You just got to go watch the WNBA, Matt. Come on now.
No, that's why I said men's.
I know you did say men's, but I'm just saying it's always really good basketball.
I love the W. I love the W. Great video of Kelsey Plum getting mad at people wanting her autograph this morning. Love the drama.
That was great, wasn't it?
Well, and even if the on the court ends, the off the court, we know never ends, particularly when the Lakers are involved. The Buss family selling a majority stake in the Los Angeles Lakers to Dodgers owner Mark Walter for a franchise valuation of $10 billion. As part of the deal, Jeanie Buss will reportedly remain as governor of the team somehow. Matt, what was your first reaction to the news?
Cool. I don't have it. This is a thing where the question is going to be, is Jeanie still going to be in charge, right? And there's all this no, there's language in it that's going to make sure that she's able to blah, 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 blah. And we heard the same thing about Cuban. And I'm sure that I'm sure she'll be a voice, but I have a hard time with the idea of a guy being like, I'm going to pay $10 billion to have this team, and then you get to do whatever you want with it. That doesn't make any sense to me. So my first reaction is just who's going to be in charge? But other than that, rich stay rich, man. That's about the biggest thing here, is just cool. That's awesome that somebody already rich made more money.
Definitely didn't expect to hear that yesterday. I can't remember what I was doing. And Pat, my co-host over on Locked On Bulls, just kept calling me. And I'm like, what's up, Pat? He's like, the Lakers just got sold. I did not expect that at all to happen. The Buss family has owned the Lakers longer than I've been on this planet. And when you look at what that franchise has done over that time, the amount of titles, I think since he's owned the team, 14 titles, if I'm not mistaken. So it's crazy what they've been able to do and accomplish. But being sold for $10 billion or evaluated at $10 billion, that's crazy.
Another question, particularly for Lakers fans, is what will change on a franchise level for the Lakers now that there is a non-Buss figure at the top of the food chain? Here's Locked On Lakers with more color on that.
The Lakers have been seen historically as somewhat cheap, not with their own payroll. The Lakers have always paid for players, but the supporting architecture of a franchise is something that they haven't necessarily paid for.
But they don't have enough people. They just need more people, more manpower, more, again, insights, perspective, all of it.
The Dodgers are successful not just because they're rich. A lot of teams are rich. They're rich and they're smart. They're smart and they're really well run. The Dodgers constantly finish at the top of rankings where you poll major league players about, how does your organization treat you as a player? And so what I think you're going to see is best in class type investments in people around the organization in the same way that the Dodgers went out and took Andrew Friedman away from Tampa Bay. That's what they're going to do in LA.
All right, what do you think, Haize? Do you think this will mean meaningful change within the Lakers, particularly with how they build around Luka Doncic in the coming seasons?
I think so. I think that we just talked about facilities and how much that matters to like an organization and players being able to have everything at their disposal that they need. And it sounds like Mike Walter is somebody who's going to do that. He's going to bring that to the Lakers organization. I guarantee you, Luke is not going to have any excuse not to be in shape now. So take that. But I think that they're going to do everything with getting everybody as far as the personnel and everything they need around there to build a dynasty.
Lakers fans are very excited about this because it's like, oh, now we're going to have all these facilities and things. They don't care, man. You already got the players. You don't need it. Like, this is diminishing returns. You know why? Because the weather's nice and it's fun to be rich in LA. That's all you need. There's not a big advantage here. The Orlando Magic need a nice practice facility. The Memphis Grizzlies need a nice practice facility. The Lakers could have an old school gym with them having nothing but like the dankest materials in there, and the players would still be like, I love it here, man. It's just great to be in LA because it's awesome to be rich and young in LA. There's no advantage here. Is it going to be better to have a big analytics group? Yes. Is it going to be nice to have a more advanced player development staff? Sure. You know what? The best players are still going to ask out of their teams to go to LA because the weather's nice and it's fun to be rich there. There's not a big impact here. The Lakers have won all of these titles in the last 30 years. They will continue to be in that conversation every year because of their inherent advantages and the way the league in particular markets them.
But don't they still have to convince Luka Doncic that a long-term vision in LA makes sense, and wouldn't investments in those other areas make more sense for that and for the players that they will eventually have to acquire around him?
What situation is it going to be better for him? This is my thing. Is everyone talk about him leaving. What's a better situation? What situation? It doesn't matter if you're like, oh, but this guy's got a really good. He's a really great general manager. You think Luka's leaving Los Angeles to go play for the Thunder? Do we think that that's happening? That he's leaving Los Angeles to go hang out in OKC? No. He's just gonna. Everybody loves being a Laker. There's no player that's ever been no, I'm sorry. Let me take that back. Brook Lopez is the lone exception to this rule who was like, yeah, that sucked. That's it. That's the only guy that's ever been like, yeah, I didn't like it because the lifestyle is too nice. That's it. There's no magic about the Lakers. It's not a special organization. The weather's nice. It's nice to be rich in LA. That's it.
Does this impact LeBron James at all? He's got a decision about his own contract, whether he picks up his option. I believe he had a close relationship with Jeanie Buss. If she stays as governor of the team, does that impact that decision at all, Haize?
I mean, I think it does a little bit. I think that it does a little bit more than that. I think all this affects it a little bit more. I think you can't take anything for granted, especially for a player that is not going to be there long term by the time you have to negotiate with them. So I think everything going on, from Jeanie Buss staying on to the direction to the decisions that they make personnel, how much money they want to spend on things, I think that all matters to a degree. That's if Luka cares about winning a title. If he just cares about being in LA and being a star, then maybe it doesn't matter as much.
I think one of the things that'll be interesting is just what's their relationship with the history, right? Because you got to respect it or you piss off the fans. But this is a very Kobe influenced organization. Jeanie had a very close relationship with Kobe. Rob was his agent. That they literally hired his agent to run the team, which is, by the way, insane. LeBron, but this is all that's part of the past. And the team made a decision in acquiring Luka Doncic to this is a new era. So I'm going to be very just interested to see how they manage those dynamics, because I think it's going to be interesting. One more thing, man, a lot of people, including me, are like, really? They trade this Luka Doncic inexplicable trade happens and they trade and they sell for $10 billion. Really? And I'm supposed to believe all of this is a coincidence. Just complete coincidence. Weird stuff.
Lot of information
don't happen in the NBA, Matt. I'm sorry.
A lot tinfoil hat already. I love it. A lot of information in the Locked On Lakers podcast. Go check that out. They do a great job there. They really dig deep. I think we should talk about what it means for Rob Pelinka, maybe on a future episode, what his status is with the organization after he scores Luka Doncic. Now the ground has shifted under him, Matt.
We could talk about it, or you could go find out on LinkedIn.
Okay. I do have one more thing that I'm curious about. Matt, what's with all the high-profile franchise sales in the NBA? So we just had the Boston sale, and we've just had a lot of recent franchise sales in the NBA. What does it mean for the health of the league and potential expansion, which has been discussed recently by Adam Silver?
Look, I don't have billionaires on my speed dial, but I'm a little nervous. Everybody's getting out. Cuban gets out. The
Right.
Celtics get out. The Buss family gets out. Glenn Taylor gets out. Everybody's getting out of this. And to me, there is a little, and like some of it's like, yeah, you can get, I mean, if you can get 10 billion, you got $10 billion. But a lot of it's also to me is like, is this being advised as this might be the peak? What do they know is coming from the media deal? What do they know is coming for revenue? What do they know is coming that we don't? Because to me, it is very suspect that all of a sudden so many long-term franchises are getting out. That to me is curious and a little bit worrying.
Haize?
Now, I'd have to go back and look at this. I don't know, but how many of those long-term franchises that are getting out of it, like, is it just that they are getting ready to move on, go to a different period of life where they don't want to have to deal with the in and out of owning a basketball team? The NBA has seen a lot of, like, the valuation of franchises has really ballooned up over the last 5 or 6 years. So, I mean, these are all business-minded people, so they may just see it as an opportunity to get their money, get out, and enjoy the later part of their lives with not having to worry about it, is the way that I am kind of looking at it now. But, you know, it is a concern. I think you're seeing franchises sell all over all sports, not just the NBA as well. So what does that mean going forward? I think is a major question here as well.
Look, buying bunkers for the water wars is expensive, and so they just got to get those funds.
Tinfoil hat again. We've got both of my panelists here wearing the tinfoil hats all the way. Yeah, media environment's changing. Maybe the last great, huge TV deal that's not, full of streaming and all kinds of other things coming down the pipe. I think a lot is changing around the NBA landscape. And I think, too, we have to look at foreign investment. That could be the future of a lot of this. And if you're someone like Jeanie Buss or the Buss family that was interested in finding someone that would steward the franchise in the way that they wanted stewarded, then maybe now was the time to do that before there were some offers coming from other places that you absolutely couldn't refuse. Let us know what you think on YouTube, youtube.com/@LockedOnNBA. Coming up, NBA Finals preview time, the Pacers and the Thunder, Game 6, a chance for OKC to take home the title. And if they do, whose legacy shifts the most? Is it Sam Presti, who built the team? Is it SGA, the NBA's MVP, who's leading the team right now? I'll ask Matt and Haize that ahead on Locked On NBA. Today's episode of Locked On NBA is brought to you by Olipop. Olipop is a new kind of soda. It's made for people who love the classic taste of soda, but they want something that supports their health. With just 2 to 5 grams of sugar and 9 grams of prebiotic fiber in every can, Olipop is reimagining soda in a way that's better for your gut. Traditional sodas are loaded with sugar, 39 grams, 39 in a regular Coke, 44 grams in an orange Fanta. Olipop flips that script with just a fraction of the sugar, no artificial sweeteners, and gut-friendly ingredients like OliSmart, which is a blend shown to support digestive and overall health. It's soda that tastes like the real thing, but actually does something good for your body. I can have a soda at lunch, and instead of feeling guilty about it, I get to feel great about getting a third of my daily fiber. You can get a free can of Olipop today. Just buy any 2 cans in store and they'll reimburse you for 1. Head to drinkolipop.com/LockedOnNBA to claim your free can and find Olipop near you. That's drinkolipop.com/LockedOnNBA. More Locked On NBA ahead. Thanks for making Locked On NBA your first listen every day. We are one of the most listened to podcasts on the Locked On Podcast Network, and we thank you for that. Now we're on a mission to become one of the most watched shows on the network. If you've been listening for a long time, please support the show. Head over to youtube.com/@LockedOnNBA and subscribe to the podcast there. Elimination Game 6 tonight. The OKC Thunder are tantalizingly close to their first title. On today's Locked On Thunder podcast, host Rylan Stiles and guest Thunder beat writer Joey Masato debated who stands to gain the most from lifting the Larry O'Brien tonight.
Who has the most to gain, reputation-wise, legacy-wise, resume-wise, with this win?
I think it's Sam Presti, and it's not like Sam Presti has anything left to prove. I mean, he is a world-class basketball executive. He's a genius. He's the ultimate process over results guy. So then waiting until they get the result to say he's made it would be like counterintuitive to everything he believes. But at the same time, you know, when you look at his legacy, his resume, the only thing that's missing is an NBA title.
Agree or disagree, Matt? Sam Presti stands to his legacy stands to transform the most with an NBA title, or is it SGA, or is it Coach Mark Dagnall?
I'm biased here. Like I've covered the Thunder pretty up close from time to time, and I have so much respect for that organization, and it starts with Sam. That Presti's ability, and Presti and I aren't close or anything, but like Presti's ability to care about the details, to build an environment. He managed this thing where it's like, okay, so Heat culture is about, you know, hard work, grit. We're going to set these extremely high standards. Well, Sam like has set that standard of you're going to work hard. We're going to be professional. We're always going to be professional in everything that we do. But he did it while also being like, we also care about you as people. Like they really do feel like the organization cares about them. And that's a reflection, I think, of Presti's leadership. So the fact that, and so many fans of various franchises, including ones that sold for $10 billion yesterday, want to criticize and be like, well, where's his titles? And it makes me insane because I'm just like, this guy does the job better in an environment where it's harder. You should not be able to be successful in Oklahoma City. You should not be able to be successful in the NBA in Oklahoma City for a number of factors. And yet Presti has built a contender over the past, 14 years? Most of the years they've been in contention. To me, it's Sam Presti, Haize.
Yeah, I think it's Sam Presti too. And I think like we got to go deeper when it comes to Sam Presti. He was the assistant general manager for the San Antonio Spurs. He was one of the people that wanted them to draft Tony Parker. So he's already done and had a place in the team that's won a title. And I think now doing it on his own, like his first draft pick was Kevin Durant. And so he's been there from the organization, moving from Seattle to moving to OKC, all the different phases that roster went through after KD left and then Russ and then Paul George. Now settle on this team and to build this team so well to the point where now they're on the precipice of potentially having a dynasty. I think they're probably the team that's set up the best to truly have another dynasty if they win this title this year and going forward with how good and how young they still are. Sam Presti, it's going to do a lot for his legacy if they win a title. I would definitely pick him as the one that it does the most for.
I'll go another way since you both went with Presti. I say it will be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think despite what LeBron may say on the Mind the Game podcast, I think winning a ring still matters. Maybe it matters too much to the discourse, but it does matter to win a title. And I think for an NBA MVP that while I think he certainly won it decisively, there were still a lot of questions about, well, Nikola Jokic, did he, statistically, it was one of the better seasons for him. Should he have won it? Or are we just doing SGA because the team is so great? And I think winning a title, if he wins Finals MVP, it's even more so. I think Presti's legacy is pretty set. Like we all understand the greatness, as you guys just did a great job of illustrating, the greatness that he's been able to put together over time. And for someone that loves process, he's done it. He did process. But I think, SGA, and for players, it is all about results.
First Finals MVP from a regular season MVP since 2013, LeBron. The list of guys to pull that off is very, very low. The other thing is that guys with his level of usage do not win the title. Like it's really kind of proof of one, it's their defense, but it's also like proof of how good he is that he's able to contribute and be so efficient to not drag them down with isocentric, heavy pick and roll, heavy ball handling play. I think that's a real incredible testament. Caruso's another interesting one, Haize. 2 titles.
Yeah.
Like well respected as a defender. I always kind of go back to like, yeah, but like he plays 25 minutes in the season, and that always kind of is going to stick with me. But like he's on track to be one of those guys that we're going to talk about as the all-time role players for championship teams.
Is he a 16 gamer, Matt? Does he get the 16 gamer label?
I think he's got to get the 16 gamer tag. I mean, he treats every game like 16 games for 25 minutes a night.
Fair enough.
Haize, will it make a meaningful difference to you if the Thunder are able to close this thing out in 6 versus 7?
No, I mean, I'm listen, this is Pacers team is a tough team. This series has been tough on both teams. The Pacers are an incredibly great team at home, so I'm not going to hold it against them if they can't close out tonight in 6. If they close out in 7, I look at it the same way, and honestly, I probably look at it a little bit more favorably, to be honest with you, just because my own personal petty enjoyment out of seeing it a series go 7 games. So no, it won't affect the way I view the Thunder at all. If they win it, man.
I think it's too late is kind of the thing. They had a chance to really kind of rattle off a run where it would have been like an all-timer, and you could have been like, okay, they went. The Nuggets had Jokic, and that's the only thing that slowed them down. If they'd run off the series in 5, it would have been 4-7, 5-4. That's a really dominant run, even with that Nuggets series thrown in. This one going 6 or 7 is still going to kind of be like, yeah, I mean, they were an awesome team, but like not an all-timer. This isn't going to be considered like an all-time team. Maybe they'll, it's the start of a dynasty if in Haize's mind and others. And so that can kind of cover up for that a little bit. But to me, it's like too late for it to really make a difference between 6 and 7.
I think what's interesting is I think you're both right, but I also think that if the Pacers push this to 7 and lose, it actually does make a meaningful difference, because it would be like such a particularly with Halliburton's injury, it would be such a miraculous thing for them to push it to 7 that I think we would feel slightly different, not dramatically different, but slightly different about the Pacers losing in 7 than they lose in 6. I don't know if either of you agree or disagree with that.
I get it. I think the Pacers stand to like, if the Pacers push this to 7, the respect everyone has for them will only increase. Yeah. Like, it'll just be like they were right there. Like that team, you remember that team that pushed the Thunder to 7? Like, they will go down. Like, you'll remember them more if they're able to get this to 7.
Haize, final word.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm going to remember the series either way. This has been such an unexpected series, and just the way that it's gone. If they can push it to 7, great. If not, cool. I mean, Tyrese Halliburton just hobbled last game, this game too. So I think everything in all those situations all made even. I mean, I think we've gotten a really great series, better than what most people were giving it credit for coming into it.
All right, coming up on Locked On NBA, we are going to get into our feelings even more with a game of fill in the blank on a number of storylines that we have with the NBA Finals and outside of it. That's coming up on Locked On NBA. Today's episode of Locked On NBA is brought to you by Game Time. There is nothing like the NBA Finals, and certainly nothing like an elimination game in the NBA Finals. The intensity, how every single possession matters, fans losing their minds. It's the kind of atmosphere you really have to experience live. And this year's Finals, it has delivered. If you want in, Game Time makes it fast and easy to get seats for playoff games, for Finals games, any game. Prices on the app actually drop closer to tip-off, and with killer last-minute deals, panoramic seat views, and no surprise fees, Game Time is a total game changer. The NFL season is approaching, and I'm already looking at my fall calendar, picking out which games I'm going to hit. You're going to find great seats for as low as $100 thanks to exclusive discounts. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app today, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNBA, LOCKEDONNBA, for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. More Locked On NBA ahead. Thanks again for making Locked On NBA your first listen every day. We're going to end the show today by talking about our feelings and the feelings of the players that we love to watch. It's time for Fill in the Blank, a game of Mad Libs about being mad, sad, and everything in between. First up, NBA Hall of Famer Scottie Pippen says he sees a lot of himself in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's sidekick, Jalen Williams. Haize, Jalen should feel blank about that comparison.
Proud. You should feel very proud about that comparison. I think that's an amazing comparison. I think people try to use Scottie as like the perfect Robin or like to knock his legacy. Scottie Pippen was a great player, and I think that Jalen Williams has that. That's a nice comparison for Jalen Williams. I think he could be better than that.
We got a lot of shows over the summer. Hey, sometime we got to talk about what happens if Scotty plays in today's NBA and has the better awareness of exactly how good he is and how regarded he is and how much everybody would love to have him as their franchise player, so he doesn't have to put up with being bullied by a narcissist. And so I would be very proud if I was Jalen Williams. Like, Scottie Pippen was an incredible player. Yes, he's got the thing of him sitting down or whatever, refusing to come in. A lot of context in that situation. I also think it provides you with like an understanding of a bar of being like, wait. So I'm already this, like, Scotty thinks I'm already this good. And he was this great. And I don't even think I've scratched the surface. I'm still so young. I've still got so much upside. I'm telling you, like, this is a top 10 guy. And he ain't 10, 9, 8 in a couple of years. Not young, but a couple of years. I'm telling you, I see all-time greatness with Jalen Williams and his potential.
Wow.
On the latest episode of his podcast, Mind the Game, LeBron James decried ring culture as the end-all, be-all of NBA conversation. Matt, this update from LeBron James, this take from him, makes you personally feel blank.
It makes me respect him more, and I already have like so much respect for LeBron. Like, he's such a big presence in our lives as NBA fans that you can feel a lot of different ways about him at once. And there's things he does where I roll my eyes, and there's things he does where I stomp my feet, and there's things he does where I'm just, I grab my chest. I'm just like, that's amazing. Like, that's so great. This is one of those where it's like, I love how much of a historian he is of the game, and he understands how many great players never got that chance. Like, Charles Barkley is such a punchline now, and that kills me. That guy was a killer in 93. And Gary Payton does not get the respect he deserves for how much of a monster he was. Chris Paul is going to get lost. And that point guard was amazing. And the fact that LeBron has the rings and doesn't feel the need to validate himself above others with it, that to me is endearing to him.
Elated. I'm glad that LeBron said this. This is one of the things that I agree the most with LeBron on. Ring culture is the end all be all. Some people have like this thing. I don't know. It's like this conversation with younger fans now. They're like, it's winning bias. It's winning bias. It's like, that's the object of the game. It's to win. Rings mean that you won at the highest level possible. So I love that LeBron said this, and it means more that it came from him, considering all the accolades and things that he has accomplished in his career.
All right, Haize, let's see how you feel about this one. The Chicago Bulls, fresh off their third straight play-in loss, have extended contracts for executives Arturas Karnisovas, Mark Eversley, and head coach Billy Donovan. They're running it all back. Haize, Bulls fans should feel blank about this level of consistency.
Frustrated is the thing that comes to mind, because it's not that AK or Eversley have done everything bad. They haven't. They've signed some really good contracts, not Patrick Williams, but I think you look at Lonzo's initial contract, it was good for the value, but he got hurt. DeMar's contract was a really good value there. Io and Kobe's extensions were really good. Drums were really good contracts. They've done some good things as far as like structuring their contracts, and there's been no very long-term bad money there. They've hit on some draft picks. They've missed on some. But I think overall, it's the success. We just talked about ring culture and winning, losing being the end-all, be-all. This is a team that, for the first time in 4 years, we didn't have a record get worse the year prior. And you're rewarding that mediocrity with a longer contract. Now, some of part of me understand it. They started a rebuild. You're giving them a few more years to see it through. But it's really frustrating that we continue to be a mediocre team and we just double down on the mediocrity year after year.
I think there are franchises where this makes sense. It just doesn't make sense for the Bulls, right? Like, I wouldn't mind this if this was, I'm not going to use the Hornets. I'm not going to use the Hornets. I'm not going to use the Hornets. The Wizards, one of those other kind of franchises where it's like, just a team that's very much stuck in the middle in a very, very small market. The Pelicans, I actually think would be like, hey, we just need some stable leadership here. You've heard about DeJounte Murray's comments. Like, you need to be able to build a culture there that's better. Mm-hmm. But the problem is just like, the Bulls should be a marquee franchise. This is the franchise of Michael Jordan in one of the biggest markets, in one of the most popular franchises in the league. And they just continually set this bar at just like, it's fine. Like, they're the Pacers, where it's like, we just want to be competitive every year. And that's obnoxious. Like, I never want big market superiority, but if you are one, try it. And that to me is what's annoying about the process. I don't mind extending Donovan. I'm a Donovan guy. I think Donovan's really underrated. But that front office, I have a hard time being able to justify keeping that core intact.
The Charlotte Hornets also the franchise of Michael Jordan, for better or worse.
Accurate.
The Lakers selling for $10 billion. They didn't really sell for $10 billion, but the Lakers sold franchise value $10 billion. But Jeanie Buss staying in charge, as we talked about earlier, that should make Luka Doncic feel blank, Matt.
Good for them. I don't know how this impacts him in any sort of way. You can be like, he should be excited about all the things that they're going to bring to the table. He can afford his own training. He can afford his own facilities. He can afford it. Like, there's no impact here. He's going to be the face of the most popular franchise with the biggest free agency and trade advantage in the NBA. Luka was already sitting pretty. This should not move him in any meaningful way. This doesn't affect his life.
Content? I don't know. It's really hard because with Jeanie Buss staying on as the governor, we don't know how much is going to change immediately and how soon. It could very well be that Luka could be almost at the end of his contract extension before we really start seeing some big time effects by new ownership. I don't know. So I think right now you should just feel content and it may be a little excited just because change always brings a little excitement. But that's really all I could think of there.
Opportunistic. That's a better one.
That's a great word. It's a great word.
He should feel opportunistic because if he starts to exert his control and is like, look, Jeannie's great and I have a great relationship with her, but like, I'd be interested in some new people kind of having a bigger voice. How does that shape the front office? How does that shape the ownership group? That he should exert his power here in a period of flux.
Yeah, I think stability typically leads to better results. So if you're Luka, I think you're looking at this, you have to feel a little bit nervous. Maybe you feel a lot of different things, but you got to feel a little bit nervous when you've been traded to a team and they did a lot of convincing to you that this was a great situation, and now a lot of the fundamentals are due to change. I think that's got to make you feel a little bit nervous. Finally, Grizzlies center Zach Edey was busted for reckless driving after he was clocked at driving 101 miles per hour in a 55 mile per hour zone in his Kia Sorento. Zach Edey should feel blank about that, Haize.
I'll get to the feeling, but one of my favorite things to watch in my pastime right now is the Bigfoot vlogs on TikTok. Like, it's hilarious. And they had him still a Murcielago and go like 100 and something miles with it on this vlog, this fake digital vlog. And that's all I can imagine now is Zach Edey as Bigfoot going down at crazy speed limits. So I would say this, he should feel, I don't know.
That's okay. He should feel
excited, fun. I don't know. It is what it is. Like, it's comical at this point. It is. Well, I don't know what he should feel though.
Matt.
My real answer is like, he should feel slightly embarrassed. It's fine. Young people do stupid things. This stuff happens. Wasn't under the influence. Wasn't like those kind of things are not. Kids do stupid things. Is it reckless? Yes. Is it dangerous? Yes. Are young people able to understand those things? No, because you have to have the benefit of life and having seen so many accidents and having lost people for you to understand those type of things. So I'm not going to overly crush the kid for this. A Kia Sorento? You can't even get busted in like an awesome vehicle. You're an NBA player. You got busted in a Kia Sorento. How did you get a Kia Sorento to go 101? How did you push it?
I think he should feel impressed. He got that. He pushed that Kia to the max.
I'm not even mad at you. I'm just impressed. That's where we're at with Zach Edey.
Let us know how you feel about all of this on YouTube, youtube.com/@LockedOnNBA. If you like what you heard today, subscribe to Locked On NBA. We do it every day, wherever you get podcasts, including on YouTube. Thanks to Matt and Haize for their expertise and their feelings every day. Thank you for making Locked On NBA your first listen. For your second listen, check out Locked On NBA Big Board. NBA Draft Week is next week, and expert Rafael Barlow reacts to every workout, interview, and rumor leading up to the NBA Draft. Find Locked On NBA Big Board on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Enjoy our beautiful game tonight. It might be your last chance for a while. Be kind to each other. We'll see you right back here tomorrow on Locked On NBA.